And I tell people out of my 20-year journey, I failed 14 of those years. Out of the 20 years I've been on this journey, I personally have failed at least 14 of those years. And a lot of that failure or that experience or those lessons I got over those 14 years is I really was able to hone in on what worked and what doesn't work. And as I'm looking at the landscape of where we are as a culture, as a community, as a people, I'm also seeing that a lot of people who made an attempt to jump into entrepreneurship, or people who've been in the world of entrepreneurship just as long as me, some even longer, have pivoted. A lot of people have been pivoting, okay? I'll give you an example. Tony Robbins, okay? Everybody's familiar with Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins used to sell motivation, but here is what he quickly learned. Motivation, for one, is temporary. He was selling a temporary solution to people's problems. So just follow me. Tony Robbins, who sold motivation, he called himself like a transformational coach or whatever the case may be. And I highly recommend, if you haven't watched, go watch his documentary, I Am Not Your Guru, okay? Tony Robbins didn't really have a product. He just motivated people into helping them feel better so that they can go out there and try to get a desired result. But here's what ultimately ends up happening. You're motivated for so long until you find out everything that you're doing may not work. So now you are now no longer motivated. So because he wasn't selling a practical application, there was no science to his success. You get enough people in a room and you motivate them, but what happens is that you become this hamster on the wheel. So you feel you have to go back to get more motivation because you figure, hey, if I was motivated to at least get the engine started, maybe I need to go back and get re-motivated to restart it. And so, but then what ended up happening with Tony Robbins is he started to see that he was burning himself out. He actually even talked about this in his documentary. He became the dancing bear. Tony Robbins became the dancing bear. He became the dancing bear to the point to where he could not do anything else except go out there and motivate people. But if he took his foot off the gas, he no longer made money. So he had to continue to be the dancing bear and go out there and continue to spread and perpetuate a lie to people to get them motivated enough to go out there and do just enough to be motivated to be able to come back and spend more money with him. And so he found himself in this cycle, okay? And he was like, man, it's 365 days out the year and he's doing 346 seminars a year. He was trying to get off that train. How many people have felt like this? But see, what he found out is that he had to pivot to play a game that gave him the greatest odds of winning. See, motivation is a temporary game. So over the past several years, here's one of my assessments. People were able to go out there and play a game, any game, and create a win. Let me say this in layman's terms. People over the past several years, people were able to go out there and pretty much start and do whatever. ATM businesses, vending machine businesses, Amazon, FBA, all of these different things, trucking, you name it. Like if you just did the basics, you would create a win that was sustainable to you because most people had never curated a win in their life. All we knew was go to school, get good grades. Like we had very little business acumen. And so what ended up happening is the bar to success became very, very, very low. The bar of success in all of those games, the bar for success became so low that just someone getting started, they were excited. Just follow me. Let's take the Airbnb arbitrage, okay? For those who don't know what Airbnb arbitrage means, that's where you can go out there and literally sign a lease. You could sign a lease and then you can turn around and go out there and re-rent those apartments out. So you didn't even have to own the property. So what became the bar of success in the Airbnb game? And I have a lot of clients right now who's jammed up in bad leases, who's making no money. Okay, so what became the bar of success of the Airbnb game? Okay, the bar of success became just getting the lease. So people would get celebrated because they got a lease. Now, the lease didn't make them any money. You actually needed customers. You needed renters. You needed people. Now, me personally, I am not an Airbnb guy. I don't like Airbnbs. I like hotels. If I'm on vacation, I do not want to make the bed up. This is why I tip housekeeping very well. I don't want to cook. I want to be able to go out of town. If I go to Miami, I want to go to Prime 112. I want to go to Komodo. I do not want to go on vacation and feel like I'm at home. So now let me ask you all a question. Okay? Y'all know me. I'm interactive. Okay? Let me ask you all a question. Who is your target audience? Or let me ask you in this capacity. What percentage of people are your target audience when it comes to Airbnb? Okay. Now, I don't want you coming in here arguing the fact that, oh, you can make money in Airbnb. You can make money doing juggling bowling pins. That's not my question. My question is, what percentage of paying customers is your target audience when it comes to Airbnb arbitrage? And anybody can answer this. See, one of the things that I play as a contributor to my success is I play percentages. See, most good gamblers, professional gamblers, play percentages. Every good craps player I ever met, every professional poker player I met, even people who understand the game of roulette. If a roulette table has 3 zeros, the percentages of winning decrease. And so even in business, I play percentages. I don't do something because it's popular or because I can make money. Because yes, you can make money in gambling, but if you play that game long enough where the odds are stacked for the house to win, you eventually lose. So when you think about Airbnb, your pool of contestants or your pool of an audience or your pool of potential active individuals who can buy from you has shrunk because, for one, most people don't travel, especially in the Black community. I wish I would have pulled the stats, but a lot of people do not travel as much as you think they do. You're isolating your viewpoints off of the 5,000 people you follow on social media. Most people make assessments and make a decision in life based upon the 5,000 people they follow on social media and think that is the consensus of most people. And it is so far-fetched from the truth. So from an Airbnb standpoint, your percentages shrink of your level of success. Plus, there are too many factors that you can't control to where you can't have a predictable stream of cash flow. One, if the HOA changes the rules, you can't do it. People were signing leases left and right for Las Vegas when they heard the Raiders were coming to town, and the casinos came in and shut that down. I posted a post where somebody got $180,000 fine because they thought that they can still do Airbnb under the table. Guess what? Your neighbors will snitch on you. Oh, you making money, but I can't? I'm telling. So your percentages of success shrink in the Airbnb arbitrage game, okay? Let's look at, and the bar of success in the Airbnb game is the lease, which doesn't even guarantee you cash flow. It doesn't guarantee the win. Next, let's talk about the car rental space. And I was a fan of that. I put out one of the first courses. That industry is not scalable for most people because most people aren't running it like a business. In the car rental space, that's the bar of success. You don't even win just having the car. Now you have something that you have to pay every month. Same thing with the Airbnb arbitrage. You now have a lease that whether you have a client or not, or whether you have a renter or not, you have to make a payment every month. And you're already struggling with your regular bills, and now you've just added in another bill that you have to service. and you're happy just because you got a car. The bar of success in the car rental game is very low. So now, let's take another poll. How many people on here rent cars? When I go out of town, I do not rent a car. The only place I'll rent a car at is when I go back to Milwaukee, because I'm handling business and going to see family, etc., etc., etc. So now, I don't rent cars. And we already know most people don't travel. Again, especially in the black community, most blacks do not travel. So now your percentage of individuals who rent cars shrink. So the bar of success in the car rental game is so low that we applaud people just for getting a car. Look, anybody with a post can get a car. Like, you can have a post in a 200 credit score and the bank will finance you. But again, your percentages have shrunken because not everybody rents a vehicle. And most people went out and bought exotics. Your pool definitely shrinks. The most profitable vehicles are really the Toyota Camrys and the Corollas and the Honda Accord. Like, those are the most profitable vehicles. But everybody has been sold the pipe dream of the fallacy, because the win is the car, not even in making the money part. And I get it. Somebody's gonna say, well, Will, you can make money in the car rental space. That's not what I'm saying. Just follow me, trust me. Okay, now let's talk about the stock market. Now, I invest in all of these things, but when I'm talking to that individual who's looking to take their last dollar to invest in something to create wins for themselves. Okay, and I'm gonna tell you why I'm talking about this. Stock market, you can invest in that, but are you willing to hold it in there for 10 to 20 years? Because the stock market doesn't pay you cash flow. See, let's even take a traditional business. Okay, let's even take a traditional business. At the end of the day, your traditional business, what are your percentages? Anybody can name a business. See, whatever business you have, you have a dedicated target audience on who's going to buy from you, okay? And that dedicated target audience who either potentially will or won't buy from you, then you have to look at, okay, well, what does it cost for me to get that customer? What does it cost for me to keep that customer? What does it cost for me to scale so I can get more of that type of customer? And so we haven't even calculated how much it will cost for us to make sure that our business can even sustain. So everything that a lot of people are doing, we're going out there starting from scratch, trying to accomplish the one thing, which is the reason why we wanted to go into business. And here's what it is. And here's even the one reason we all wanted to go into business ultimately seems to be the one thing that we never try to focus on, and that is cash flow. See, the Airbnbs, the car rental space, the stock market, all of these things are great investments, okay? Most people who are spending their last dollar trying to invest in those things, if you do not understand the cash flow magnitude of those investments, you will not make it. Now, here's the thing that I'm often telling people: invest in all of that. But what I do is I show small and medium-sized business owners, I show entrepreneurs how to hedge their bets in business. How do I do that? I do that by showing them how to create immediate cash flow and increasing their net worth. Okay, I show individual business owners, small and medium-sized business owners, new, seasoned, and advanced business owners, because every business owner has the same problem, and that is cash flow. So now, with that being said, if cash flow is is most people's number one metric for the reason they started business, why are we not doing the thing that guarantees you cash flow? And I'm gonna break that down here in a second, okay? I'm gonna break that down here in a second. See, the financial freedom and the legacy and all of that stuff is the byproduct. All of that stuff is the purpose. But we go into business to create cash flow. So now, when you think about business, what is the success rate of starting a brand new business? Somebody answer that for me. What is the success rate of starting a brand new business? Any business. Whether it's the pallet liquidation, whether it's a barbershop, whether it's the Airbnb arbitrage, whether it's the car rental industry, you're starting from scratch unless you do one other thing. Okay, it's 10%. Only 10% of businesses make it past year 1 through 3. Now, here's a scary fact. Just because the dry cleaner you drive past is open does not mean they're not failing. Just because the restaurant that you drive past is still open does not mean they are not failing. See, failing isn't always the doors are closed. Failing means they're having a hard time making a profit. Sometimes they keep the doors open because they don't have another game to play. They're all in. So just to be able to save face because they got commitments to all of these bank loans and they've liquidated everything, their marriage is on the line. So they're still going to keep those doors open, doing whatever they can just to be able to keep their forehead above water. Not head above water, just the forehead. So if we know that 9 out of 10 businesses fail, okay? So now, if we know that 9 out of 10 businesses fail, why are we continuously playing a game where the odds against us of winning is extremely low? And this is why you feel stuck. This is why you feel like the dancing bear. This is why you've tried thing after thing after thing after thing. This is why you're juggling the bowling pins. Yeah, you may have made money your first 30 days. Yeah, you may have made money you may have even made money your first 12 months, but now you're stuck. It can't scale. The business is no longer making any money. The industry has changed. People now have less discretionary income. People aren't traveling as much. People don't want to stay in Airbnbs. People aren't buying your program. They're not buying your core. They're not buying none of that stuff. Why? Because you put yourself in a position to target an audience where the market share has shrunk to play a game with losing odds. Why? Why even put yourself in that position? Play the game that gives you the greatest odds of winning. Do you want to know why more people are going into soccer and baseball than in basketball and in football? Because you have a greater opportunity, first of all, because there's more positions open in the game of baseball and in soccer. So more people are training their kids in the game of soccer and baseball, and like somebody said, one, because they have there's more opportunities globally to play professionally in those sports. But yet we still steering our kids to basketball where it's only 400 slots, football where I don't know how many slots it is in football. So only 400 something people can make it in the game of basketball, but there are 400,000 people who can play soccer. That's the game I want to go play. And they make more money in soccer and baseball than in basketball and football. They even make more money. So what am I saying, and how does this tie into my message here today? What essentially I'm saying, we are in a state of emergency because people are still playing a game that has a lose-lose rate. People are still playing a game where the success rate is 1 out of 10. People are still playing the game from the world of business where your pool of an audience, where your pool of clients, where your pool of participants for you to win the game is constantly shrinking. Why is that the case? And at the end of the day, the one reason you got into those games is for cash flow, and it's not delivering any of that stuff back to you. We got to stop playing the game where we have the lowest odds of success on winning. We have to stop playing the game where we have the smallest pool of an audience. Again, if you play the percentages, you can't lose in life. When it comes to winning in business, real estate is the main game to play. See, it's no coincidence why they say that 90% of millionaires play the game of real estate. It's no coincidence that everybody who wins in business owns real estate. Why? Because it stabilizes you as a businessman and a businesswoman. Real estate stabilizes, so if your business is failing, you still create cash flow.